Welcome to this edition of News Today, a series in which we discuss and briefly analyze the important news of the day. Let's have a look at today's main headlines. 11 countries signed the first of its kind global declaration on river dolphins. Scientists fire up a Nanophotonic Electron Accelerator, which is the world's smallest particle accelerator. Haemoglobin is not used only in blood, scientists find in major discovery. The user manual on Pradhan, Mantri, Matru Vandana Yojana 2.0 and a new portal and mobile app for the Yojana were recently launched. ILO says closing childcare policy gap will offer high return on investments. Biogas can be a solution for India's decarbonisation goals, says the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis. Starting with the first main news of the day. 11 countries signed first of its kind global declaration on river dolphins by 2030. The declaration was adopted by river dolphin range states. These include Bangladesh, Bolivia, Brazil, Cambodia, Colombia, Ecuador, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Peru, and Venezuela. River dolphins are top predators in some of the world's greatest river systems and important indicators of river health. Since 1980s, their population numbers have reduced by 73%. Some surviving species of river dolphins are Amazon, Ganges, Indus, Irrawaddy, to name a few. These 4 species are listed as endangered in the IUCN Red Data list. The Global Declaration for River Dolphins aims to halt and reverse the decline of all river dolphin species in both Asia and South America. It also seeks to scale up collective efforts to safeguard remaining river dolphin species by developing and funding measures to eradicate gillnets, reduce pollution, expand research, and increase protected areas. Further, it aims to enhance the health of rivers, which are the lifeblood of many communities and economies, as well as sustaining critical ecosystems from rainforest to deltas. The declaration is based on 8 pillars, namely, creating a network of protected areas, enhancing management of river dolphin sites, expanding research and monitoring, engaging local communities and indigenous peoples, eradicating unsustainable fishing practices, improving water quality and quantity, celebrating World River Dolphin Day to raise awareness, and increasing resource allocation and partnerships.
In our next news, scientists have fired up a Nanophotonic Electron Accelerator, which is the world's smallest particle accelerator. Let's first discuss what exactly are particle accelerators. They are devices that speed up charged particles, that is protons or electrons, at high speeds almost close to the speed of light. These charged particles are then smashed either onto a target or against other particles circulating in the opposite direction. These accelerators are essential for fundamental research, for an improved understanding of matter, discovery for particle and nuclear physics, and for sciences that use X-rays and neutrons. They also have applications related to health, environmental monitoring, and food quality, among other things. The Large Hadron Collider, located at CERN, is the most powerful accelerator ever built that pushes protons or ions close to the speed of light. Talking about CERN, it is a lab situated at Franco-Swiss border near Geneva and was founded in the year 1954. It has 23 member states with India as an associate member. Coming back to the news, the Nanophotonic Electron Accelerator, or NEA, consists of small microchip containing an even smaller vacuum tube, which is made up of thousands of individual pillars. The main goal behind creating these accelerators is to utilize the energy given by accelerated electrons in targeted medical treatments for cancer. The accelerator is similar to the Large Hadron Collider, as both create a magnetic field to accelerate particles. However, the main acceleration tube of NEA is 54 million times shorter than the 27-kilometer ring of CERN's LHC. Also, the Large Hadron Collider uses more than 9,000 magnets to create magnetic fields, while the NEA works by firing light beams at pillars in vacuum tube.
In another news, hemoglobin is not used only in blood, scientists find in major discovery. A new study has reported that chondrocytes, which are the cells that make the cartilage, make hemoglobin and form hemoglobin bodies or HEDI. Cartilage is a connecting tissue between bones. Previously, it was understood that hemoglobin was used only by the red blood cells. Having said this, let's have a look at the functions of chondrocytes. It releases substances to make cartilage strong yet flexible. Plus, hemoglobin in chondrocytes carries oxygen and is essential for their survival. Also, it stores oxygen and supplies it to the cell when required. Before we conclude this news, let's understand what exactly is hemoglobin. It is an iron-containing protein in the blood of animals that transports oxygen to the tissues. It is present in the RBCs of vertebrates. All vertebrates except cold water ice fish transport oxygen via hemoglobin. Hemoglobin forms an unstable reversible bond with oxygen. In its oxygenated state, it is called oxyhemoglobin, and in its reduced state, it is called deoxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin develops in cells of bone marrow that becomes RBCs. RBCs carry oxygen from lungs to every cell in the body. RBCs are covered with a membrane composed of proteins and lipids, lacks a nucleus and contains hemoglobin. Some hemoglobin-associated diseases are hemoglobin S and thalassemia.
Moving on to the next news, the user manual on Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana 2.0 and new portal and mobile app for the Yojana were recently launched. The Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana is a conditional cash transfer scheme for pregnant women and lactating mothers. The scheme was launched in 2017 in accordance with the provisions of the National Food Security Act of 2013. In the year 2022, it was revised as Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana 2.0 and incorporated in Mission Shakti, which is an umbrella scheme for safety, security and empowerment of women. So far, more than 14,000 crore rupees has been transferred to more than 3 crore beneficiaries. Now let's discuss the 2.0 version of the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana in more details. The scheme falls under the Ministry of Women and Child Development and is a centrally sponsored scheme. The main goal of the scheme is to provide financial incentives to compensate for wage loss during pregnancy. This makes sure that women can have sufficient rest before and after childbirth. The scheme is targeted towards pregnant women and lactating mothers of at least 19 years of age in informal and unorganized sectors. Implementation of the scheme happens through Anganwadi centers established under the Anganwadi Services Scheme. So what are the major benefits provided under the scheme? A conditional maternity benefit of Rs 5,000 is given for first living child of the family. Since institutional delivery and incentives which are available under Janani Suraksha Yojana are also provided, women on average get 6,000 rupees. Further, to support girl children in India, an incentive of Rs 6,000 is provided in a single installment following the birth of the second girl child.
Moving on, Closing Childcare Policy Gaps offers higher return on investment, International Labour Organization. ILO, established in 1919, has its headquarters in Geneva. It has 187 members, including India. Coming back to the childcare policy gap, it refers to the period between the end of statutory childcare related leave and the starting age for free, universal, early childhood care and education or primary education. It affects 90% of actual and potential parents worldwide. The average childcare policy gap is approximately 4.2 years globally. When it comes to maternity, paternity and the combined parental leave available to households, the average is 6.1 months globally. Additionally, the average starting age for free, universal, early childhood care and education is 4.7 years. Having understood the childcare policy gaps, there are certain benefits of closing this gap. According to estimates, $1 invested in closing the childcare policy gap would give 3.76 times return in the global GDP by 2035. It would also lead to reductions in gender and other inequalities along with generation of decent jobs. 84% of such new employment would go to women as they exchange unpaid care work for paid and formal employment. It will also aid in improvements in overall health and well-being. For closing the childcare policy gap, investments of up to 1.5% of global GDP in addition to the current public spending of 0.3% of the global GDP is needed for providing universal, high-quality childcare services. Let's have a look at the key recommendations in this regard. Firstly, investing in care economy and better sharing of care responsibilities between men and women is needed. Also, the designing of right-based programs will also aid in closing the childcare policy gap.
In the next news, as per Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis or IEEFA, biogas can be a potential solution for India's decarbonisation goals. According to the IEEFA, replacing natural gas with biogas and methane incrementally to 20% would help India cut natural gas import bills by $29 billion between 2025 to 2030. So what is biogas? Biogas is a mixture of methane, carbon dioxide and small quantities of other gases which is considered a renewable source of energy. It is produced by anaerobic digestion of organic matter. Its precise composition depends on the type of feedstock and the production pathway being used during its production. Removing carbon dioxide and other impurities like hydrogen sulfide from biogas can upgrade its methane content to 90%, making it equivalent to natural gas in calorific value. Talking about the benefits associated with the usage of biogas, it can help in waste management and contribute to reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Acknowledging this, India has taken a number of initiatives for biogas promotion, like the Gobardhan scheme for effective solid and liquid waste management. 500 waste-to-wealth plants were announced under this scheme. Further, at the international level, the Global Biofuel Alliance was launched by India as the G20 chair. However, there are several challenges for biogas production in India. For instance, there is a lack of comprehensive market ecosystem in terms of pricing and offtake. Also, the process of obtaining clearances for setting up biogas projects is quite complicated. So what can be done to overcome these challenges? Some policy recommendations in this regard include increasing market viability for biogas, mapping feedstock and aligning them with biogas plants, encouraging participation of the private sector by establishing a clear market for the end product and forming clear supply chains. Also, increased access to finance at more affordable rates can be provided for the development of plants. Let's have a look at today's place in news, which is the Bering Sea. It is in news because a recent study has revealed a link between declining Bering Sea ice and increasing wildfire hazards in northeast China. The Bering Sea is a marginal sea in the northern Pacific Ocean and it separates North America and Asia. It is bordered by US, Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia and a chain of the Aleutian Islands. It is connected with the Chukchi Sea of the Arctic Ocean via the Bering Strait. The deepest point of the sea is in Bowers Basin at a depth of more than 4,000 meters, and the Anadыр and Yukon rivers drain in the sea.
As we conclude today's main news, let's go through some quick updates. Air Transport Circular ATC-01 of 2021 allows charging for preferential seats. ATC-01 of 2021 allowed unbundling of services since not all services are availed by every traveller and the unbundling could reduce the basic airfare. The ATCs are issued and revised by the Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Ministry of Coal and Ministry of Renewable Energy will jointly promote green energy expansion. The Ministry of Coal will provide land, capital and undertake implementation of renewable energy projects, while the MNRE will support capacity building of functionaries. Northeast monsoon revives hope of cardamom growers. Cardamom, or queen of spices, is native to tropical areas of India, Myanmar and Sri Lanka. Several birds have died at Gudavi Bird Sanctuary. Gudavi Bird Sanctuary is located in Soraba Taluk of Shimoga district in Karnataka. Fossils of a 170 million year old ancient marine reptile from the age of dinosaurs have been identified as the oldest known mega predatory pliosaur. Pliosaurs were a group of ocean-dwelling reptiles with short necks and massive skulls. When the Vikram lander of Chandrayaan-3 mission made a soft landing on the moon, it raised a lot of dust, leading to the creation of a bright patch called as the ejecta halo around the spacecraft. By using the multi-aperture mid-infrared spectroscopic experiment instrument, it has been found that the dimming of Betelgeuse star was due to a burst of dust in the form of silicon monoxide coming from the star. Bunny festival witnessed as Devaragattu in Andhra Pradesh's Kurnool district. Bunny festival is a traditional stick fighting festival. Before we go, it's time to put your knowledge to the test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this edition of News Today. To get the answers to today's quiz and to download the PDF of News Today, make sure to check out the links in the description below.